Hi, it's Warren Huart here. Hope you're doing marvellously well. Today we're going to look at Lauren Taylor's song, Treat Me Right. Now this is a song that Lauren and I wrote probably about a year or two ago. And it's just a fun disco 70s sounding track. Lauren is incredibly talented. She's the star of a show on Disney called Best Friends Whenever. So she brings a lot to the table, a lot of personality, great singer, and this was a lot of fun to work on this song with her. She also has really good production ideas, even though she's probably only 16 or 17 years old. She's incredibly talented. So please check out the song with me. As ever, subscribe, go to producelikeapro.com and sign up for the email list, and you'll get a bunch of free goodies and entry into the mix competitions that we have and all kinds of other fun upcoming stuff. So please sign up for the email list. Okay, let's check out the song. Great, so this is a pretty simple song production-wise. You know, in modern tracking, there's not a lot going on. We kept it very simple. There's this simple groove, which is actually from Boom. And all I did was make the kick and the snare separate so they're mixable. So let's have a quick look at Boom so you know what I'm talking about. This, I believe, comes free with Pro Tools. Here's Boom here. It's made by AIR. It's basically an 808, to be quite frank. It works on a very similar principle to an 808. It's fun, I use it quite a lot, and the way that we worked on this song, and I do a lot, is created a basic groove and then I started playing a guitar part to it, and we just sort of built the song from there. So it's very typical of me when I'm songwriting and producing, it's kind of the same thing. You know, the songwriting becomes the production. Okay, so I printed, we can get rid of this now, I printed the kick and I printed the snare. So here's the kick, here's the snare. And what I did on the snare is I went crazy on the EQ. It was very middly and aggressive. So I went nuts. I took out, I mean, that's 8 dB at 1300. That's a lot for me. So really kind of pulled it out and made it about the bottom snare so you get that psst. And then there's an L1 just to level it out. The reason why I use the L1 is I just wanted that psst, psst. I wanted that sort of sustain to be audible and not just to have it decay too much. Here's a before. Cool, but now listen. It just that psh, keeps going longer. So pretty simple. So that's basically our main groove in the song, is these two elements. There's a very simple guitar part here, which is driving the whole song. And that's just looped. And it's very simple. I just put a API plugin on it here, some 10K boost, some 3K boost, some 200. DI'd straight into Pro Tools. Just brighter. So really no amp simulations, nothing going on, and those are our two main elements. And that's the basic groove of the song. Okay, as far as synth and stuff is concerned, at the top here, we've got this synth stab, which again is done in Logic. It's really just that. Again, an API EQ, 5K, just a little brighter. So, simple. Here's the top of the track with all the elements together.
Other girls may take your shit, but I ain't gonna deal with it. They might let you call the shots, but with me, you're not.
Okay, so here, the vocal here, it's pretty similar to what I normally do. So you can go to the mixing vocals and you'll see what I've done. But what I've done here is I've created a parallel vocal. So what I've got is I've got this one vocal here.
Other girls may take your shit, but I ain't gonna deal with it.
And then I've doubled it. So I've created another track of it.
Other girls may take your shit, but I ain't gonna deal with it.
And you can see I just got very aggressive on the RVox here. Now, I'll be honest, I use the RVox quite a lot. I like it. It's a very fat sounding, very warm sounding compressor. So I might do a lot of EQ later on the vocal, but I like to start off with a big fat signal. And if I'm going to get aggressive and do parallel compression, there's nothing better for me than the RVox.
Other girls may take your shit, but I ain't gonna deal with it. They might let you.
That's not to say you can't simulate this with another compressor, so please try, but I'm sure you can. But that's my parallel one. So what I'm doing is I'm taking those two vocals and then I'm feeding them back into my vocal sub, which is here. And it's my usual trick. I've got a trim here just to make sure I'm not overloading the plugins. There's no EQ going on there. I think I put it in to use it, didn't end up doing anything on it. There's RDeEsser, and that's the vocal sound.
Other girls may take your shit, but I ain't gonna deal with it.
Really simple vocal sound.
You call the shots, but with me, you're not.
I've got all my same tricks. There's a little vocal distortion, there's a little octave on there just to fatten it up slightly, and then of course there's the vocal thickening trick. So please check out the other videos for those vocal sounds. We do a very detailed version of those for you. Okay, so there's the basics of the song. And that continues all of the stabs and those things up until the first chorus. We'll take it from the beginning of verse 1.
Other girls may take your shit, but I ain't gonna deal with it. They might let you call the shots, but with me, you're not. You know I don't fall for your games. Keep it a boy, watch me walk away. If you want to.
Great. Very simple reverse effects here. Just reverse cymbals. You can build these yourself. Literally just take a cymbal and just reverse it and get that sound. There's a little transition piece here, which is done in Logic. And it's just one of the stock cymbals they do in there. So they have stock reverse cymbals you can put in as well. So this is just a really simple combination of 3 sounds together, and it gives us this. And what I like is that one's stereo, the Logic one, and then these I pan left and right. So it just gives it a slight unevenness so it's not too perfect. Now, as far as the chorus is concerned, the main change is this bass line.
If you want to call you.
And I would have just played that on this little Akai MPK Mini. Just literally just octaves like this. Very, very straightforward. That was done on Expand. That was just like a Moog bass setting on Expand, which comes with Pro Tools. Really straightforward. I have a really good friend of mine who makes a lot of great records in England, who I hope we get to interview, who makes a lot of big artist stuff out there, and he does probably 90% of his sounds using Expand. So don't be afraid of, you don't feel like you have to go out and spend thousands of dollars on virtual instruments, because there's a lot of, if you know the ones that you've got that come with your DAW, you can probably do more with that than having 50 different virtual instruments that you only peripherally know a little tiny bit of. Cool, so that's the big change in the chorus. Check it out.
Call yourself mine. Be a man and just treat me right. Make up your mind, don't waste my time.
Okay, in the first chorus, I'm adding 2 snare samples. And the first one is D28, which if you're signed up to the email list, you'll get. Just a tubby snare. And then the second one is just a little tight kick. And that just adds a little bit to the boom loop. Not a huge amount, just a little bit. With, without. With, without. So that's in our choruses, just as a little lift. And then there's a little, just a crash cymbal on the downbeat of the chorus. So this, once again, let's hit the end of the pre-chorus.
Go away. If you want to call yourself mine, be a man and just treat me right.
Cool. And there's a little percussion element here. I believe that was just an expand loop that I just manipulated and dropped in. It's like I took out a lot of the high end, so it's just a bongo. You can hear a little bit of. It's so you can be creative, find loops, and you know if they're really good, but you don't want to hear the kick and you don't want to hear the hi-hat. If you don't have the control over it, just EQ the bottom end out and the top end out, and just get to the mid range that you want. That's all I did on that one. Okay, so that's the first chorus.
Don't waste my time. Be a man and just treat me right. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
And this is the hook. Now the hook here, the post-chorus hook, is a live me playing bass. Just a DI only. All I've got going on that is a bit of top end bite, some 400 cut, some 200 boost, and some compression here with the 2500 API. Now those two things together sound great. You'll notice I'm not boosting 60 or 100, any of the lows you'd associate with bass. And you might say, why is that? Well, I didn't want it to get in the way. I'm not trying to build like a big fat bass tone there. I'm just trying to actually make it a lead tone. Cool. So, and then there's a second strat part that comes in here. Again, DI'd. Little compression on here. Kind of gives it a little spanky 70s. And tambourine. And believe it or not, a triangle. This will take you back to school. Painful on its own, that high frequency. Now, my old engineer Phil sang the backgrounds, and we tuned it. That's actually completely manufactured. You can tell. But what we were trying to do is we were trying to make it sound like an old vocoder. So it's very manipulated. We just had him go ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba, because he had a much cleaner voice than me. There's no roughness to it. And then we just melodined it and auto-tuned it, basically. I believe this was all actually done in auto-tune. It's very synthetic sounding, but that's the point. So it's a combination of two things. There's a natural one, ba-da-ba-ba-dum-ba-ba-ba, and then there's a third, ba-da-ba-ba-dum-ba, and a fifth above that. And those were built using auto-tune, but built in the graphical mode, pulling them up. And then there is an auto-tune plug-in on them again, just to really make it synthetic. Now, of course, you could process it again. You could put those plugins and then process them and have them as a stereo file. when you're moving quickly, when we're moving quickly and we're writing a song and we're putting the parts down, you know, sometimes it's not always the most efficient manner. You know, I've manipulated that and then I've got plugins on it. You know, if I came back to this now and was remixing it, I might just bounce that onto 2 tracks. But yeah, very synthetic sounding. But that was really the point. And then as far as the lead vocal there's a lead vocal doing it. And a double. So very straightforward, just like a simple little hook there, and just those percussive elements come in. Okay, verse 2 comes up. Back to the same feel as the first verse. But here we get a little funnier. So I played a little clav thing here. Back to the triangle. Just what a little fun kind of 70s disco-y moment there.
For your games, keeping a boy, watch me walk away. If you want to call yourself mine, be a
same feel exactly as the first chorus. No surprises there.
You're mine, don't waste my time. Be a man and just treat me.
And here's the post-chorus. Rage.
And I can be yours if you're willing to work. Well, yeah, I can be yours if you're willing to put me first. Yeah.
Okay, great. So the main thing that's changing in here is obviously the bass line's dropping out. We're going to that funky guitar part from the second verse. And we've got this delay.
If you're willing to work, well, yeah, I can be yours. If you're willing to put me first, yeah.
So it's very straightforward. I've got a delay here that's set to a quarter note, so it's a pretty long delay. The tempo is automatically set here when you flick this up on the EchoBoy here. And then I've got an R comp. And the reason I'm using this is I'm using it as a dynamic delay. So I'm feeding from the lead vocal. It's working as the side chain, as the delay is being heavily compressed by the lead vocal while the lead vocal is singing. And as soon as she stops singing, the delays come up in volume. So here's the side chain on bus 10. Here's the threshold set. So let's just solo the lead vocal only.
I can be yours if you're willing to work. Well, yeah,
So you see what it's doing? He goes, I can be yours if you're willing to do the work. And those delays come up and take over the place of the lead vocal. Now, there are dynamic delays. You can use a dynamic delay that has that built into it. This is just how I grew up using and creating dynamic delays. I took a delay and then I put a compressor after it. And I like that effect because the delays, it gives the illusion of a lot of delay in there because you hear it between the vocals. But if it was that loud all the time, it would muddy up the lead vocal. Great, so then we go back to our hook. the funky part at the end here, obviously. Cool. So you see there we've got the chorus vocal melody with the hook melody together on the second half of the last chorus, and we're done. Very short and sweet song. I think total length on this is, have a look. It is 2 minutes and 58 seconds long. So very straightforward song. That includes like a little bit of a decay there. So yeah, very short song, a little under 3 minutes. Very simple. And really the only thing I'm doing is adding very simple ideas. Like on this last chorus here, this other drum comes in. Again, that's just a manipulated loop from expand. Otherwise, that's the only thing that happens that's different in the last chorus. Very straightforward. So that's Lauren Taylor's song, Treat Me Right. Now, you'll notice I'm a guitar player. I come from a guitar player's background, so I like to work with audio more than I like to work with MIDI stuff. So I have a tendency to play things and then maybe edit them. Or even if I'm using a virtual instrument and I'm working in MIDI and I've edited the MIDI maybe the way I want it to be, I almost always print the audio and then mix the audio. I would still go that way even if I wasn't a guitar player and thinking like that, just because you don't want a huge amount of virtual instruments running at the same time. It makes mixing really difficult if you start layering on a lot of plugins and you're really, you know, hitting your CPU hard with a lot of virtual instruments. So it's a good idea to just, you know, if you can, once you've happy with something, print it. It just, for me, it's easier to mix. We worked on the song together and came up with the basic lyrics, and then Lauren went away and finished up the lyrics, came back and sang the song. It's a very straightforward song, but it's built around the idea of a sort of 70s disco groove with a couple of other fun elements. So please, as ever, subscribe. Go to producelikeapro.com and sign up for the email list. Give us your email address. You'll get a bunch of free stuff. You'll get drum files. You'll get entry into our mix competitions. You'll get lots of free information about upcoming stuff, and there's lots of fun things going to be happening. I'm really excited. Thank you ever so much for subscribing and watching. It means a lot to us. And please leave some comments and questions below telling us how you do stuff. Let's share all the ideas. It's really wonderful that we get to have this community between us where we can talk about music and the ways that we do things. I'm not too precious to give away any information, so please ask me questions, and I learn from you. So thank you ever so much for watching.